Hey guys, so it's been a while since I uploaded a video, but I thought today I'm going to talk about my new Lexus GX 460's entertainment or infotainment system, but more specifically the Grom VLine unit. So I know the Grom VLine unit has been a bit of a mixed bag in reviews, and honestly it's the same for me, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Let's go. Hey guys, I just want to say something really quick just before I start. I did want to do the review of my Lexus GX 460, the full review first, but I've been posting on my forums, sharing my experiences, and there's been a really a good positive feedback towards wanting to hear more about the Grom VLine. So, and I do want to share and help you guys out if you're interested in the Grom VLine, because like I said, it does have I believe that there's a mixed bag of reviews there, but overall I do like it. So I'm going to talk about that in this video first, and then later on I'm going to do a video about a full review about my Lexus GX 460. So let's go in and then let's do the review. So I'm just going to turn the battery on here. So before I start, the Grom VLine came in a box, and it had this Grom VLine unit, but I also ended up getting the a Bluetooth keyboard, and I'll talk about why in a sec, and also an AV cable that I needed for the camera, the backup camera. And if your GX 460 comes with a front camera or side cameras, I believe that you could use it there. I'm not sure about that though, you might want to double check, but the installer told me he needed it for the camera, and I assumed that was a backup camera. So speaking of installer, I'm not going to try to mess around and use a pry tool and damage the stuff, so I left it to the professionals. I had to pay for it, and I'll talk about the costs as well. The whole thing so the Grom VLine unit itself, I think, was around $625, maybe just around $630. And the Bluetooth keyboard was another, I can't remember, it was maybe 15 bucks, I'm not sure. And then the audio cable was like 10 bucks or $9.99 or something like that. But the actual installation of that took 4 hours. So I paid a local installer, and they did a great job here, an installer local to me. And I live in Southern California, so an installer here in my area, and he did a great job installing it, and he charged me 4 hours of labor. I also ended up adding another about an hour and a half, 2 hours of labor for the rear DVD screens, which are right here and right here. And I'll put a picture as well in the video, but I'm going to make a separate review for that, because this review is just for the Grom VLine. So let's talk about how it's installed. So he's installed it. I had a choice of putting it behind the deck here, or in the glove compartment. And the glove compartment, I'm just moving the chair back here a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so in here, as you can see, it actually sits here. It's on a Velcro strap, so it straps in and out there. I actually put a really cheap piece of Velcro, not Velcro, like felt, so that way you can see here when it lifts up, because it's kind of jutting out a little bit. The Velcro removes it so it's not hurting the VLine, but I didn't want it to damage this, and it was starting to scratch up here, so it just easily closes up. There's inputs here for your, I don't want to take it out, but there's inputs for USB, so you can update your firmware as well here if you want to, and I'll talk about that in a sec. And HDMI inputs. This one's your main display cable, and this is the power if something happens, and that something did happen here, and I'll tell you about that in a sec. But yeah, so this is the Grom VLine unit, very compact. It sits right there, and then of course there's a plug here. So as you guys probably know, if you're looking into the Grom VLine, it loses the aux input, but also the cigarette adapter here, for some of you may use it for a power source. So it's got the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, USB here, as well as another. So I guess you really don't lose the aux input. You have an aux plug there, cable, and then of course the Bluetooth is right. It's just a standard Bluetooth keyboard. I'll tell you why I wanted it, but it's because you're gonna. Well, so this is what I'm talking about. Here's the mixed bag of things. So the Grom VLine unit itself is it's almost like a little mini computer, Android computer. You know, why don't I just show you? So I'm just gonna start it up. I just put on the power. The VLine should. So the VLine already has booted up. So you can see here, this is the Grom VLine interface. It's pretty responsive. I know this is an old touchscreen type. It's not like the new iPhones that we have or the newer displays, but it is still pretty responsive. There's the Apple CarPlay. There's wireless CarPlay. Here's your setting. It's pretty much an Android unit. And then I guess, you know, if you type search, and then, you know, I can turn on my Bluetooth keyboard here, turn it on, and you can see a little light there. When I start typing hello, you can see up there. So it's basically just a keyboard. It's easy to type with. And I mean, it's pretty cool if you want to, you know, just do anything on this. And what you can do here is, I mean, you know, it has YouTube. It has, I don't have the app downloaded, but it has YouTube. How do I go back? This is supposed to go back to the main screen. You know, it has YouTube. It has pretty much anything you can download, like, you know, Chrome, you know, your web browser and all that kind of stuff, right? So a Bluetooth keyboard is pretty handy. Now, here's the thing I didn't want to. So when I first got it, I was so happy. I hooked it up to my Wi-Fi. As you can see, it's already hooked up to my Wi-Fi here. I haven't started Apple CarPlay yet, but you know, I went into settings. I went to network, Wi-Fi, and then my Wi-Fi is connected, and then I went down to oh, sorry, not this one. I went to, where is that? System, that's it. System, and then I went to VLine system updates there. I hope you can see it. I'm trying to film this, but hopefully this is kind of visible. And then, you know, I did the latest updates, software, and then the firmware. And then I wanted to install GApps. I mean, I'll try to find a picture for that. If you want to install those kind of apps, like the Android kind of apps, you need to install GApps, right? And then you can install, you know, Chrome and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, well, like, you know, let me check it out. Let's see what it is. You know, I've never had that before. So it says there are no and then it gives you this warning: many VLine functions will not work. Installation will take around 5 minutes. So I had said yes. So I'm going to say no here, but I had said yes before, right? And then what happened was the entire thing just froze up, right? It just froze up, and I had no idea what to do. I tried, you know, restarting the car, waiting for a while. I even waited overnight, and it was the VLine just stuck. It didn't want to do anything, and I was like, wow, I only had, like, you know, an hour of CarPlay, and then that's it. Boom, it's gone. You know, over $600 unit. So I called the Grom VLine support. I emailed them. I called them, and they said, well. One person said, well, you know, you need to use the latest firmware. And I said, well, I downloaded the latest firmware already. But then he said, you know what, let me send you a file, just put it on a USB stick, and you can put it in that USB slot I told you. I'm like, okay. And then the other person, somebody came back and said, look, you know, all you need to do is just take out the power cable here, wait 5 minutes or something, and then plug it back in, and you should be good to go. Just need to reboot it. Now, taking this thing was kind of a challenge. It's it's like a safety clip there. You have to pull it, wiggle it, you know, and make sure you don't break the wires or anything. So I did that. Oh, actually, I went back to the installer because I really couldn't get it done, but then he showed me how. And then he did that, pushed it back in, and you know, it worked again. And so the moral of the story, sorry, let me just put this back here. The moral of the story is, I'm not going to install GApps at all because, you know, I don't need YouTube, and I don't want to put YouTube anyway on that. I just kind of was experimenting and wanted to see what it had. I don't need all the other apps. I mean, there's a bunch of apps that you can install. And it's great. I mean, you shouldn't be driving. You should be parked when looking at these things. But I just didn't want to have it anyway. But I thought it was a cool feature that you can, you know, maybe there are some apps that can help you when driving that you can download on here. That'd be really cool. But I mean, I think there's, and also for Waze. And there's a navigation module also that sits there, that they actually wired it in near my windshield. So that's if you want to download Waze or Google Maps, you still need the GApps, so you need that too. So I'm like, well, you know what, I probably could now, since now I know I have to unplug it, but I just don't want to go through that hassle. What if it freezes? What if it breaks? I mean, the real reason I really wanted it is because of CarPlay. And so let's get into CarPlay. There's two renditions of CarPlay, by the way. There's wireless CarPlay, so that's really cool. So all I have to do is turn on. I think there's a Wi-Fi that it connects to, and then you can do wireless CarPlay. You can also connect over Bluetooth. You can tether, which is cool. But I didn't want to do wireless CarPlay. The reason is because when you have your Wi-Fi on here, so when you go on here and then you try to activate, oh, hold on, whoops. There you go. Got concerned for a second there. So if I go here, what's happening? Why is it saying, no, stop. See, this is what I mean. It's kind of, okay, hold on. Come on. Okay, there we go. So you can see that there's a wireless CarPlay option here. And says, you know, connect to wireless CarPlay. Oh, it already did connect me. But the thing is, I don't want it to connect, right? So basically, hold on, let me try this again. One sec. Okay, so what I was saying was, whenever I had it paired up, I mean, I would just go to my Wi-Fi settings in here, and then it'll try to pair up. And when I tried to pair that up, it worked great. I mean, you know, as soon as you get in the car and turn this on, you know, it'll wire up, you know, automatically, and you can see CarPlay, you know, wirelessly come up. But I like to charge my phone as well, so then I plug my phone as it was already on wireless CarPlay, and then things just started getting weird. It froze, and I was like, you know what? I need to charge my phone. I don't really, you know, it's cool to stash it away, but I mean, if you want to do that, that's great. But and I'm sure that would work fine. I guess the moral is, I think. Or not the moral, sorry. The findings that I have that's come across from all this is, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but it seems like, or it appears to me, that you can't use wireless and plug it in to the same Apple CarPlay USB port, because then it'll break, or the things will act weirdly. So I just chose to plug it in. And, you know, everything is hunky-dory. It's great. So let's try doing that now. Let's go into plug it in. I'm just going to plug in my phone. Here's my phone. I'm going to plug it in. Okay, so I've plugged my phone in to the USB jack there. The USB port, that's the Apple CarPlay port. And I've got Apple CarPlay. And it's got all the apps, you know, that I need. And you can press Grom to go back to the Grom interface, go back to Apple CarPlay, and it's very smooth here. Most important thing, I've got Apple Maps, and what else? This is the main thing, you know. It's got this is kind of what I really wanted. I needed Apple Maps. You can do Google Maps or Waze as well, and it's got this the interface that you're all familiar with, right? It's got my music. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's really great. I've got my music here, and the music app, and yeah, apps, and yeah. So it works like it's supposed to do, and this is what I really wanted. It's a real shame that, you know, the GX460 doesn't come with Apple CarPlay support, and that I had to pay not $600. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can do it yourself, I mean, it'll be what, the $630. I mean, this is what I wanted anyway. I wanted Apple CarPlay, and it looks really nice on this 8-inch screen. You know, the resolution's pretty good. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's really nice, really smooth, really quick. You know, and yeah, I mean, the only thing is, you know, I really wish, you know, the GX460 came with Apple CarPlay to begin with, because, you know, I paid, you know, over $600, almost $630 for this thing. And I mean, if you can install it, then you'd save, you know, save the other couple $100 that I put in for installation. But I mean, at that point, I mean, it's still a lot of money. I understand the Grom VLine does a lot. You know, there's that Android, you know, computer almost aspect to it, but I mean, all I really wanted was Apple CarPlay. And I mean, you know, my wife and I were both happy with the situation. Now, I mean, sorry, with the CarPlay situation, we're happy with it. You know, the infotainment, you know, it brings the 2005 infotainment back to 2021. You know, I mean, you know, I kind of joke with my wife, and I'm like, look, honey, it's 2005, 2021, 2005, 2021. Oh, what happened? Oh no. Okay, there it is. I mean, it's still real. It's still like a little janky, you know. I mean, but you got everything else. Like you got your climate controls. You know, that works well. You know, your setup. I mean, all the buttons, you know, work. It's not the fastest, obviously, but I mean, this is what I really cared about. I mean, if you go to options here, it's the auxiliary. Now, I don't know why the auxiliary here is grayed out. So these are the kind of weird things. Usually, the auxiliary works because it's actually going through the auxiliary to the Grom VLine, right? As I understand. But I mean, it's working now, so I'll leave it the way it is. Yeah, so that's that. The other thing is, you know, some of the buttons. I mean, so the volume button works, right? You can see I'm pressing the volume button here. That works. The track up and down works as well. The only thing is that the hang up and the pick up and hang up telephone buttons do not work, and the voice command button does not work with Siri. That's kind of, you know, that sucks. I really wish, because in my STI, I could, you know, it has Apple CarPlay. I mean, of course, it came stock, so it came with the new Starlink infotainment, not the big screen one, but you know, it's got a 7-inch screen, but it has Apple CarPlay in it. So all the steering wheel controls are great. I just hold down the talk button, and then, you know, Siri comes up and I can say what I want. You know, like, you know, go to, I don't know, go to a coffee shop or whatever, right? But here, it's only wired to use the stock navigation, which kind of sucks. I would assume, oops, looks like power went off there. Well, it's great timing because I'm about to end the video. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to hook up the Grom VLine. Sorry, not the Grom VLine. I'm going to hook up the Bluetooth in my phone to the stock navigation, or the stock head unit's Bluetooth. And then, because I know the call hang up buttons work on that, but I'll probably, because the Grom VLine doesn't know about those buttons, so that's why in Apple CarPlay I can't use it to pick up or hang up a call. But what I'm gonna probably do is try to have my iPhone hooked up to the Bluetooth of the car, and then see if I can pick up a call using those buttons. Now the thing is, I don't know how that's gonna work, because the audio, so the Bluetooth of the car will try to pick up the audio. Because it's going to pick up the call, but then the CarPlay will also pick up the call going through the Grom VLine. So I'm going to do a test on that and see which one is going to, whether the buttons are going to work or the buttons are not going to work and CarPlay will work, or maybe it'll be a hybrid of two. Maybe the buttons will work through the Bluetooth of the car, but the VLine will display, will give all the audio. So I'm gonna probably do a video on that one, because that's gonna be interesting, because I mean, I would really like to use these buttons, honestly. It kind of sucks that I can't, but other than that, there's one more thing. Here's another weird quirk, I guess. I don't know why, but every time I'm on Maps, Apple Maps, I can't show this to you now, it only happens, like, you know, when I'm driving and the maps are being used, all of a sudden the audio just jumps to 22. I'm like, so my wife and I were like, what is this? And we tried to reduce the volume or increase the volume. It always comes back to 22. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's the under maps settings on the phone, you can choose which navigation volume, low, medium, high. And we tried playing with all those and it still jumps to 22. It's kind of strange. I think I actually saw it jump to 22 right, like when this video started as well. So maybe I could have displayed, I showed it to you guys, but now I can't. But it's weird. So there's some quirks. It's not, I would say the Grom VLine, if I could rate it out of 10, I would rate it a 6 out of 10. Because it does what I want it to do. When it works really well. It gives me CarPlay. But the rest of the time, I mean, you know, sometimes it freezes. Sometimes like once I was coming home, you know, we had a family trip, we were coming home, and, you know, I had the Apple Maps on, and suddenly, like, you know, a call came in, or the volume, something happened with not the volume, sorry, we switched music, we switched, we went to the next track or something on the Apple Tunes or the Apple Music player, and then all of a sudden, it froze, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do now? So I just unplugged, replugged, nothing. It wouldn't do anything. And I was like, oh great. So we had to use the ancient navigation, you know, to kind of get our whereabouts. But that really sucked. And then after a while, it started working again. So you know, it's really unfortunate that we don't have any more options as Lexus GX 460 owners for Apple CarPlay. I think I've heard that there is another one. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the name, but I think there is another player in the infotainment space for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. All right, guys, my GoPro, I guess the space was all filled up. I had to delete some of my old stuff, so the GoPro just shut off. So excuse me. So I just want to end this video. I kind of give you guys the basics about the Grom VLine. Honestly, my final thoughts on it, you know, I need it because of Apple CarPlay. Not particularly do I want it. I need it. If there was another option on the market, I probably would give this back and, you know, hopefully, you know, get my money back for it. You know, look for the other option. Because basically, I mean, it does, while it offers a lot, I just think that there's still a lot of, you know, development needed in this thing. I feel like it's just not fully tested. There's a lot of bugs sometimes, like, that come up. Not sometimes, it comes up quite often, like the volume jumping to 22 whenever things just freezing. Right now it kind of froze again while I was in there. I'm just not bothered to pull out the power plug and put it in again. I'm sure after a while, I don't know, maybe the power completely goes off in the car, and then, or when the power completely goes off in the car, it'll recycle or something. Sometimes it just comes back after a while. If it doesn't, then I'll have to pull out the power plug and do it again. So these are annoyances. The fact that not all the steering controls work, I mean, it's unfortunate, because I mean, they are charging like almost $630 for something like this, plus installation if you can't install it yourself, like me. I had to pay for that, and so that's unfortunate. And I really wish there was another player in the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto space for the Lexus GX 460. So you know, it is what it is. But if you need a solution, I guess this is the like I said, I can't remember. I think there's another make that does Apple CarPlay, Android Auto for the GX 460, but I can't remember what that is. So let me know if there's another alternative. But for now, I think not for now. I'm kind of invested in this now. I've spent the money for the Grom VLine. I've spent the money to install it. I'm gonna have to live with it, and you know, hopefully they'll make updates, and that's another thing, they do updates, so we can do software updates. So, and there's firmware updates too. So hopefully, as they improve this, the quality will get a lot better. And I think it's a fairly new. I mean, not Grom VLines in general, but I think the GX 461 is fairly new. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments if you guys know if this product has been out for a while. Yeah, I mean, as it is, it's like a 6 out of 10 for me. I wouldn't, unless you really need Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, I wouldn't recommend the money to buy it. If you, you know, maybe once they do updates, like I'll be, you know, doing firmware updates, software updates, if they, I mean, sorry, I can't say that. If they end up, you know, releasing updates to it, then there is the capability to update itself. So that's great. Hopefully they do that and fix these bugs. I'll definitely report the bugs in to them and say, you know, it freezes or the volume goes to 22, blah, 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 level 22, and, you know, and then hopefully they'll fix the car steering wheel control thing. So, but yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. Sorry if I was rambling a lot there. I'm just trying to put all my thoughts together. It's been almost a week now that I've had this, and I'll keep updating you guys, because I'm gonna make more videos on this. I'll do the full review of the GX 460 soon, just like I've done with my STI, which you guys can see on my channel. And yeah, so you guys have a blessed day. Take care.